Welcome to Blandy Coffee. I'm Patrizia Blandy. I'm the owner and roaster of Blandy Coffee. In this video, I want to review the Avanti Art Deco Stove Top Espresso Maker. The brand that I'll be reviewing is the Avanti, but it's not only limited to this particular brand. The actual functionality, the brew method, how you make a brew, and what you get out as a yield at the end of it is all the same. The only difference between the Avanti and any other brand is the design aspect, the way it's being built, and the materials used to make the coffee machine. Watching this review will help you get some understanding what a stovetop espresso maker is, what kind of coffee it produces, and if you're not sure what to look out for when buying this particular machine, I'll be covering a few aspects of this machine, what I like about it and what I don't like about it, what to expect and how long it will take to make a brew. The actual review itself is based on something you will use every day. At the end of this review, I'll be giving you a brew sample of what it takes to make the coffee, what it produces. I want to show you what the Stovetop Espresso Maker machine is. This is it. This is the Avanti Stovetop Espresso Maker. As you can see, it's a very simple machine. There is no mechanical pumps, no electrical components. It's virtually unbreakable. It will last a lifetime. This particular model is a stainless steel. There are different materials used to make these machines. The main part of the coffee machines usually come in either stainless steel or aluminium, and then the parts that are attached to the coffee machines, like the knob or the handle, are usually made of the same metal or something different, like a Bakelite or something of plastic. The reason I chose this machine over the other machines I could buy was because of the actual design. I love this design. It's a very minimalist sort of design, very simple, not much to it. Everything on this machine is stainless steel. The handle itself is stainless steel. As you can see there, the way it's been attached, it's welded. The handle is welded, the hinge is welded, and the actual knob itself is not welded as well. There's no screws. Some machines tend to have these knobs and handles screwed, and they come loose and eventually fall out. You might lose them. The only thing that moves on this machine is the lid. That's the only movable part on this machine. This machine is well built. When you actually hold this machine, you can actually feel the machine. It feels well built. It's not going to break on you. It doesn't feel thin, and you can actually feel the quality of the build as well. Everything is sturdy and tight and thick, and it's got a bit of weight to it. It's not too heavy, but there is a weight to this machine. The machine is quite simple and there's not much to it. As you can see, it looks like one piece, but there's two different compartments to the coffee machine. There's a water tank and a brew chamber. If you unscrew coffee machine, if you look at the water tank, there's one more piece inside. This is the coffee grounds basket. This is where you put the coffee grounds in here. This is where you put the water. We'll start with the water tank. The water tank, this particular model feels like it's one piece. It feels like it's been manufactured in some sort of mold. I can't see of any welds or joints. The metal on the side and on the bottom feel thicker, and it thins out as it comes to the neck and to the screw part of it. The water tank also features a safety valve. This safety valve prevents this tank over pressurizing, eventually exploding and becoming a potential hazard. So this valve will release at a predetermined pressure, and that's roughly about 1.2 bars. Filter basket. This filter basket is again made of stainless steel. It is a thinner metal. It looks like it's made of 3 separate parts which have been pressed. As you can see here, that's been pressed together, and in here this is separate too. Then you have the brew chamber and the holding tank. Again, there's a lid. Inside is where the coffee gets stored after it's brewed. There's a spout, and that's where the coffee comes out from. On the underside, there's another filter. This prevents any coffee grounds going up through the spout into the brewed coffee. There is a silicone seal around that looks like brownish. That was clear when I first bought it, but it's actually been stained over time from the actual color of the coffee. A little rundown on how it works. When you fill this water, you tend to fill it to this point here. I fill it always just below the safety valve. That's to ensure you put the same amount of water in there. You fill the after you put the water in, you put the basket in, and you fill the basket with grounded coffee. Usually this coffee should be grounded to a espresso style grind. If you're buying pre-grounded coffee, look for something that's espresso based grind. You pour the coffee grounds into this basket, and you don't tamper it, you don't put any pressure on the coffee grounds. You just basically keep pouring the coffee on top. You'll come to a point where it creates like a little mountain, and then if you add one more spoon or extra coffee grounds, it'll spill over. That's the point where you've gone past. So you've got to backtrack a little bit. That's the perfect amount of coffee. I've measured what I put in this. This is a 2 cup, and I put 14 grams of coffee in there. Once you fill the basket with coffee grounds, you put the brew chamber on, you screw it up, and you do it to a hand pressure tightness. And then all you need to do is put that onto a stove. When you put the flame, you try to concentrate the flame to the center of the coffee machine. You try to get it so it's just there as maximum as you can, but just underneath there. If you've got the flames coming out like that and spilling over to the sides, what it's going to do is it's going to warm up this part here, and it's going to warm up the brew chamber. So when the coffee pours into this brew chamber, this is going to be really hot, and it can damage the coffee. It can give a burnt taste or a bitter taste. Also, if you have the flames spilling over, you're going to tend to heat up your handle. So concentrating the flame to underneath the actual coffee machine is ideal. If you've got an electric element, if that's your electric element, you don't want to put it right in the middle, because what's going to happen is, if this is your element, the heat's going to travel up and heat up your handle, and then when you go to pick it up, it's going to be hot. So you want to move the stove top so the edge of the element meets the edge of the stove top. Therefore, this won't heat up. Just a little tip. And if you've got an induction cooktop, you want to check that the stovetop espresso maker you buy is going to be compatible with your induction cooktop. The amount of money you need to spend to buy one of these is under $100. And if you want to get into coffee, I think this is the best way to get into coffee. It's very easy to use. It's an easy machine to maintain. There's no maintenance. Virtually unbreakable. You can take it anywhere with you. It's portable. All you need is a cooktop, and you can make coffee. Camping, traveling around overseas, this is the best thing to have. You can make beautiful coffee every time. The name. Stovetop means that you can put it on a stovetop. Espresso maker, it's not going to give you a true espresso coffee shot. You're not going to get that thick golden crema as you would with a typical espresso machine, and it won't give you that thick syrupy coffee. What they're sort of trying to tell by using the name espresso maker, it means that it's going to give you something that resembles an espresso shot. It's using, this one's a 2-cup, uses 14 grams of coffee, which is typical of a double shot group handle. It uses roughly about 14 grams. So the coffee volume, the grounds that you put into this is similar to what you get in an espresso machine, plus the amount of water that comes out of here, or the brew yield you get out of this, is similar to an espresso coffee. It's usually about 30 mils per cup, so you're going to get 60 mils from this machine. But I highly recommend you buying like the Stovetop Espresso Maker machine that you're going to use quite regularly. So if 4 cups is too much, I would not buy that to start off with. I would buy the 2-cup. That's good enough for 2 people. And if you work out whether this is the option that you want to go down, use this. If you do get guests, you need to make more. Either buy the 4-cup or brew multiple amounts of this, depending on your guest. That's going to take a long time. That's why the bigger machines are a better way to go. The amount of water you put in this machine is going to be the same. If you tend to vary the amount of coffee you put into the basket, it's going to give you a different brew altogether. So if this is 4 cups, you make it always at the same. You always make it the same. If you only use 2 cups of this, well, there is waste. Once you've put the water in your coffee, you put this on a stove. When this starts to boil, it's going to create pressure. This pressure is going to build up in the machine, and it's going to want to push down, and it's going to try to push the water, and it's going to push the water where it's got the least resistance. Now, it won't come out of there because there's a silicone seal that's sealing up these 2 parts together. So the only way it's going to go is up this spout, through the coffee, up to the brew chamber spout, and out. That's what it's going to do. Now, the coffee that you put in here is going to restrict the water flowing through those grounds. If you put too much coffee in here or too fine, it's going to completely stop water going through, or it's going to take a very long time for this water to go through. You will eventually might get some sort of extraction out, but you're going to over extract the coffee in here because it's going to take too long, and eventually it's going to build up too much pressure. That valve is going to open, and then there won't be enough pressure to actually push through, to be able to push through there, and it's just not going to produce any more. It's not going to extract any more coffee. If you put coffee ground that's too coarse or too little, that pressure that you're trying to create here won't be there. Once the pressure does build up, it's just going to race through the grounds. There's going to be no time there for extraction, and it's going to give you a very diluted brew into this chamber. So you want to get the correct amount, the correct grind size, and the correct volume of coffee in there. Now, this is less forgiving than an actual espresso coffee machine. That's why I believe that this is the best way to start and enjoy coffee. An espresso coffee machine, if you're going to use this daily, which I do, I use this every day. If you compare it to an espresso machine, if you don't get that grind perfect, you're not going to get that perfect shot. Whereas this is less forgiving. If the coffee ground is not exactly, or it's not perfect, it doesn't really matter because you're still going to get a quite good coffee out of this. There's a bigger bandwidth or room of error on the grind than an actual espresso machine. Using this daily, I highly recommend it. Easy to use, and there's no cleaning up, there's no mess afterwards. All you need to do is take it apart, dump the grounds, and clean the machine. You can do that when you come home, or you can do it straight away. There's no maintenance to this machine, so basically all you're doing is cleaning it, storing it, and using it as you go. There's nothing to oil, to calibrate. All you really need to do is basically, after a period of time, this seal will wear out and you won't get that perfect seal, and you will eventually get the brew coming from the sides here, and that's when it's time to change the seal. Rubber seals tend to wear out more quickly, and when you buy the machine, make sure that you can actually get a replacement seal quite easily. That's one thing I found on some cheap machines. To actually buy replacement seals is quite hard to find. What I like about it, everything. I pretty much explained that everything about this machine, the way it's built, quality of this, the coffee that you brew out of this is similar to an espresso machine. So you're going to get, if you like that style of coffee, lattes, espresso shots, long blacks, you can make this from this machine, and you can take it with you, and that's the other beauty of this. What I don't like about it, there's really nothing I don't like about this machine. The only thing, if I want to be really picky and give one, there's two things I probably would say that I don't like about this machine, and don't like is a quite strong word, is if you look in here, this spout here is very hard to clean. You can't open that up, can't separate that part and clean inside. When you do make coffee over time, there's going to be some residual coffee that's going to be stuck onto this spout inside. Cleaning it is a little bit hard to do every time you clean it. You can't really do it. So what you need to do is, depending on how often you use this, if you use it quite often, probably every week or 2 weeks, you need to soak it in some sort of espresso cleaning solution that you can buy for your espresso machine. Soak it overnight. The next day you need to rinse it very thoroughly because it is a chemical. It's like an acidic sort of based solution or chemical. So you need to rinse that very thoroughly, and after you do rinse it, I suggest brewing at least 2 to 3 brews out of this machine and chucking it out. Don't use it, don't drink it. After 2 or 3 brews, you can feel sure that this is quite safe to drink out of again. The other thing it's hard to clean is inside here there is a step down along the diameter there. That step down comes down about 15 to 20 mil, and it's hard to get a sponge in there to try to clean all the corners. That's my only gripe. Another cleaning tip is here, you can separate the seal and this basket, and you can clean underneath. So that's something you can clean up there as well. This video is meant to help you make good decision to either buy this particular machine and to help you understand what kind of brew style that you can make from this machine. If you do like the video, please subscribe, and if you are buying this or looking to buy this and it has helped you, or you buy it, please tell me what you think. Comment underneath. Let me know how you're making it, and if you do run into problems, you can put in the comments there and I'll try to help you out. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's go to a brew sample now. Bye bye. We gotta unscrew the water tank from the brew chamber, remove the filter basket. You want to pour the water until you reach the bottom of the safety valve. So pouring the water into the water tank, you can use a separate container, fill it with water, and you want to get the water like that. Now you pop in the filter basket so that you can pour in your coffee. I'm using here my own coffee, that's blended coffee. You can try some. That's the Pugno Dolce, that's perfect for espresso and stove top. And what you want to do is grind the coffee into a separate vessel there. I'm using like a glass container. Is using a spoon to pour in those coffee grounds into the coffee basket. Now, you just want to move the coffee. You don't want to press it down or compact it. You want to fill it up until you create a mountain. That's one more there. That's going to be sufficient now. That's what you want to achieve, is a mountain. If you take this one more step further, as I'm going to show you here, you're going to overfill it. And by overfilling it, it's just going to spill onto the sides there. You're going to get coffee on the side there, and you're going to get some on the rim. If you close that up, it's not going to create a seal. So you need to clean that up, and it has to be clean. And that's what you want to achieve, is the crater, a mountain that's going to have no coffee on that rim or on the bottom. So you can screw on the brew chamber and create that perfect seal. You want to do it hand tight. You don't want to go any further than that. And you put it on your stovetop. Now, on this stovetop, this is a gas cooker. And using a gas cooker, sometimes the stovetop has the platform that's not sufficient just to put your stovetop on top. The gap there is too big, and you're just putting it on top of the burner. So you need to buy one of the stars like here, so you can create a platform and put it right above the burner. When you turn on the gas, you want to have the flame just underneath the base of the stovetop coffee machine. Like that. That's a bit too much. That's it. That's perfect. Now, if you crank it up like I have here, you can see it overflowing the sides there, and you can see the flame heating up the brew chamber, heating up your coffee handle. You don't want that. From looking up at above, you can see the flame there. You can see it going over. Now, I'm starting the brew process, and I've started the timer. I'm going to fast forward up to a point where it's going to start pouring out, and then I'm going to put it back to normal speed. So I don't want you to sit here for 2 minutes just looking at nothing. So now at 2 minutes, it's back to normal, and there you go. That's the start of your coffee brew. It's pouring out, and that's the flow that you want to have. It's a continual flow. It's not stopping or starting. It's slow, but it's continuous. And now that's going to keep going. As the pressure builds up in the water tank, it's going to keep pushing that water out, and that's what you want. If you've put too much coffee, or you've packed it in too much, or the coffee is grounded too fine, this flow is going to be restricted. It's going to be erratic, and it's not going to come out flowing like that is. And you can see it flowing, and that's what you want to achieve. Like I said, the bandwidth in the coffee grind is greater, so to an espresso machine. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that means the coffee you buy in a shop or you're grinding, it's not perfect. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to get the grind that's going to be sufficient to give you that flow. And now there is going to be a little bit of crema coming out of this brew, but it's not the same crema you're going to get out of an espresso machine. It's crema, but it's going to dissipate quite quickly. That's a little bit coming out now. When it comes to the final stage, this is a close-up to show you what it looks like. The crema is quite bubbly. It's not as creamy as espresso machine. You can see those bubbles. There's a lot of crema coming out of there. And it's just going to dissipate. There it goes. And that's it. That's your brew. Now, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like and how much volume you're going to get out of this 2-cup stovetop espresso maker. Now, these are espresso cups. I've got 2 here because we've got a 2-cup espresso maker. So I want to show you what the volume is. The volume is going to be more than what you're going to get out of a normal espresso machine. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get 2 espresso cups worth of coffee. And that's it. What a beautiful, and if you can smell that aroma, it's quite amazing.